All right. Hi. So I am currently making this video. If you're here, you're probably on Amazon looking at the Vangoa violin. And there was a lot of mixed reviews. There was a lot of people saying, oh, it's the biggest cheap junk. And I don't know. I had a lot of issues because a lot of people that were complaining had never played violin before. And that's perfectly fine. But then there were some experienced players on there that had said this is a great instrument. It just takes a little bit of work. And so I did end up just purchasing it myself because I figured, 118 bucks. It's a lot of money, but it's not an extreme amount. So with that said, I did have to make some modifications. When it came straight to me, it came with, at first, I had the intentions of just replacing the bridge and the strings out because the strings they give you are plastic. I don't want to say toy like, but they're not proper strings. They're not ones that they're not going to hold a tune. They're not going to stay in tune and they're not going to last very long. So I tried to just tune it up and do a review showing what they had, but in that process, the string just popped and broke. It was one of those you could feel the tension and you knew it was going to break, and it was a hot mess. And so what I ended up doing was I was going to skip that review and then just put on the strings that I prefer, which I prefer the dominant Piestro mix, which are a little bit more expensive, but some people are happy with the red label. It's a personal preference. I don't really like the red label as much, but if you want to venture off and pay a little bit more, they do have the dominant, which is a good string. The only issue I had with the dominant string was the string size right here was a little too big, and I couldn't get the ball to fit inside the current tailpiece that they had on there. And so this is just really cheap plastic. So it wasn't anything great, but I ended up changing this out. They had this piece on Amazon for $25. Not a fan of this one either. This one, the tuning pegs, you have to get it properly perfect to, I don't know, the tuners are really small, whereas when you're tuning, this one's actually a little bit nicer for the fact that they're further spread apart. These are just so close together. It makes it really, it's a pain in the butt. But, you can also tune with your pegs, which is what I plan on doing. So it's not a big deal. I'm used to violins without the fine tuners. But the end goal was it was able to fit in the strings. So I was able to restring the whole instrument. So then also, my instrument did not come with a shoulder rest. Somebody else said theirs did. It's on the description, but mine did not have one. But I already have one, so I did that anyways. I have this right here. I bought this for 10 bucks. It's one of those chin rests that if you play quite a bit, you eventually get, sometimes you can get like calluses and like I break out on my chin. So I like to use these anytime I play violin. It also comes with rosin. I'm not a fan of this rosin. It's just really, I had a hard time in the past with really light rosin. It just seemed like it would flake all over the place, and I would get like the residue all over the violin, and it gets sticky and messes with the varnish. So I go with like just this, it's a little bit of a darker brand. I don't even know the brand. It says W.E. Hill Sons, but I like to use this, so I stick with what I like. This is the bow that it came with. This is also pretty much, I don't want to say trash, but it feels like you're playing with a toy. The grip right here, oops, sorry. The grip right here, it's plastic. It's glued on or something. It's just not, it's not what I'm used to. This is just one of my other bows to kind of show. It needs to be re-haired, but it has more, it has an actual leather piece and it just feels nicer. So, but you can find a good bow on Amazon for 50, 60 bucks. And a lot of people are wondering, okay, if you're going to spend all this money to updo this violin, why not just buy a nicer violin? And the reason being is, let's do the calculations. I've spent $118 on the violin itself. Then I spent another, I think it was $17 on the bridge on Amazon. And I did that because there was a lot of complaints with the one that was with the instrument. The D and A string were too close together, so you were hitting the strings quite a bit together. Mine actually did come with a bridge that was already pre-slit with the bridge, so it was able to fit on there, but I ran into the same issues that other people had, that the D and A string were hitting each other. So, that was $17. I spent $25 on the tailpiece. So, I didn't spend that much, but then the strings were about maybe $60, $65, which that is a big cost. But like I said, you could do Red Label, which is much, much cheaper. And it's a higher quality than what they gave you with that Red Label, which I believe you could get a set of Red Label for maybe 20 bucks. And you can get a $100 violin bow on Amazon really quickly. But, factoring that up, that's what, the 300 bucks. It's nothing crazy. I also just used some headphones that I have here at home. If you want, you could buy a good set. The set it comes with are these cheap ones from the 90s, which everybody was able to see that online. You can't really expect much out of that. So, with that said, we're looking at $300. For 300 bucks, if you were to buy a violin for 300 bucks, you're still looking at having to replace the strings and having to get a new bow, because it's not going to have those upgrades that I put onto this instrument. It would have been just maybe a nicer body or something, but I was happy with this body. And so with that said, I would like for other people to kind of hear, and please God forgive me, I have not played in forever, so I practiced for about 30 minutes trying to get a song down, forgot to listen to it, which is why I wanted a silent violin, so that way I could practice and not have everybody bothered by me playing. So with that said, here we go. So that's what it sounds like. It's really muted, and I wanted to kind of compare it for you. I have an acoustic, and this one, so I have my acoustic here. This one is actually, I spent almost $3,000 on this one, so it's an acoustic. You're going to hear differences with that. Oh, this shoulder rest is not going to, I'm not going to adjust the shoulder rest. Let me play without it. So if you see, like, the sound on it, it's actually, it's a really good sound. You can hear the sound being very similar, except this one just sounds like it has a big mute on it. So, oops, sorry. So that's what I was going for. So if you're wanting something that's more muted and it's not disruptive to everybody, this is actually a really great option. And when I was using the headphones, Of course, it did not sound like this other one that I spent a lot of money on a long time ago. Um, but it does turn the volume up to where you can hear a lot better with the headphones, and it's a decent sound. But the key is the strings. You're going to want decent strings and the bridge, which if you see, you can get this one on Amazon for dirt cheap. So I highly recommend this. It was something I was really happy with. Somebody had made the comment on Amazon that the neck was not painted. Um, I don't know why they wrote that, because if you see, all violins are not painted on the neck. So I don't know what they're talking about. And somebody else had mentioned about the battery being an issue. The battery is not an issue. It's a 9-volt battery. Somebody else had two AAA batteries and stuck a fork in the back of the violin, which I probably almost peed myself laughing because I thought it was hilarious that they put a fork in there. Um, it's a 9-volt, which it comes with the violin. And if you see, it's about the same size as the rosin. So I actually received 2 rosins and 1 battery. So if it looks like you have 3 rosins, look at that. It's more than likely of the battery. So I was happy with that. That's the only thing I can think of. I'm not really sure if you're wanting to amplify this. I'm sure you could probably do that too and get a decent quality. I have heard the Yamahas play, and those run anywhere from $1,500 to $2,000. And I I have kids, I'm a teacher, and I can't afford to pay that kind of money for a violin. So this is me doing this, and I loved it. So I'm hoping now you can kind of make a better decision on what you're wanting. Oh yeah, one more thing. I did use some peg compound. The G string was sticking, so you just go on there and you kind of color that on there. And I'm sure there's going to be some expert saying, "No, don't do that." It worked for me, so it is what it is. I spent less than $300 on this, and I'm happy. So hopefully now you can make your purchases, or decide not to purchase based on this review. Thank you.